What's up, y'all? This is Conversations with Coomer, episode 8. We are here today with Dylan Cordonnier. Really cool thing that I want to increasingly highlight more is we're in Greenville, Ohio, my hometown, population, not a lot, but more than Dylan's hometown,
about
which is really
15x my town.
Yeah, 15x his town. I'll let him share that in a second. But Dylan's another guy who literally came from small town Ohio, small town Midwest world, and is seeing more and more of the world and really using the internet to take him there. So Dylan, if you'd give a quick introduction, we can roll there.
Nice to meet you, sir. I'll say we literally met yesterday. Now we're
technically in person. Yeah,
out on his farm, riding four-wheelers, doing a conversation with Coomer. Who would have thought? But yeah, Dylan Cordonnier. I'm 26 years old, so a little older than a lot of these people you hear first starting to make it in the internet world, but still 26 is young in the world. At least I'm gonna tell myself that. But I am from about 25 minutes from Greenville, where I grew up with him, and it's a little town called Russia, Ohio. It's spelled just like Russia, like R-U-S-S-I-A. And the last population, my grandpa told me this. He said the census told us we had 771 people in Russia. So that's what was Greenville, like
15,000.
15,000.
Like yeah, so a few more,
give or take. As if I remember, I'll send him. I took some drone videos of Russia this morning. I'll send it over to him. That way you can pop it up because you can see it all in just one drone shot, which is cool. Sweet. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, dog. So if you'd go into a little bit about where you are now, but really first let's cover where you started.
Okay, so.
And I don't need I'm 6 years old, I'm thinking about this. We're talking like college, high school, etc. Yeah.
What is this, 15 minutes long? All right, I can give a quick version. So
yeah, you're good.
I went the classic route out of high school. I was nerd in high school. I played sports, but I was still a nerd. Actually, I always like to say this because I'm actually proud of it. All through high school, college, never got a B in my life. Somehow, might have cheated a little bit here and there. I don't know if you can test it on the mic, but we got through it. But yeah, I went the classic route. Went to University of Toledo up in Northern Ohio. I got my construction engineering degree there. Then I found a big construction company. I started traveling full-time for that construction company. I was jumping around North Carolina, South Carolina, up to Michigan, Ohio, a bunch of different states, and that was for 2.5 years. And whenever I was doing that, I started really diving into video because I always said I had the best setup I could have at this construction job. Sorry, I was talking to the camera. I should be talking to you.
Good.
The best job that I had, it was the best people I worked with. I was traveling. They were paying me great salary. I was living in cool places, making friends, and I still fucking hated it. Sorry, there was the first F. Still hated it. But
be you.
No, I feel bad because he's got to mute him out now. I know as an editor life. But yeah, no, I just still hated it. So I would get up at it was 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, so I could go to the gym before I'd go to work for 10, 12 hours, come home, and I would go, you can ask my roommate, I'd lock myself in my room, I would go in my closet on my little stand-up desk, and I would edit for this company out of Texas. So then I started clicking on my brain. I'm like, I'm not going home and looking up how to get better at construction, how to build bridges better or whatever, but I'm going home and I'm looking up how to edit this, how to edit that. So I'm like, there's obviously the passion is here. So I kept grinding on that for, I don't even know how many years before finally this company down in Texas, shout out TVG, as the boys took a chance on me where they saw potential and they're like, we'll pay you the salary that you want to be paid to be able to quit your job and move down to Texas and work with us. And at the time, it's a weird thing. I know not a lot of people like to talk about numbers. It was at the time on my construction job, they just promoted me to be making just about $100,000 a year. And I quit and took a salary at TVG for 48. So it was there was a gamble in that. To be able to convince your parents, your parents are probably the same being from around here, to be able to convince them to take a 50% pay cut, lose health insurance, lose your 401k, lose everything to move down here it's a big gamble. But then I worked for them for a year, and then I didn't part ways, but I started my own video editing business. And I've been doing that for 3 months, and now I'm already up to making more money than I was originally. So I just hit my first 10K month last month. If I can keep that run rate, I'll be making more than I was as an engineer after 3 months of starting a business. So
incredible.
I just yapped a lot there. I didn't even let you get a word in.
No, that's exactly
my life
what we
story
want. This is designed to feature you and show your story, right? So let's actually zoom in too on that last part in terms of the last 3 months and even transitioning out. What did that look like where you said, okay, I've worked on this skill of media and, videography and everything and editing, and what took you from working with someone to, going solo and even let's talk about the growth on your personal socials from, whatever 800 to whatever you're at now.
That was, so the stars aligned beautifully with that. Ooh, voice crack. So it was whenever,
I hate puberty.
yeah, at 26, I hope so. It'd be like natural steroids, pump me up a little bit. Yeah, whenever, it was about a year working with TVG, and I still work with TVG. Like they're I'm subcontracted through them still. And whenever I decided to part ways with them, it's because I was talking with a bunch of different videographers, editors in the industry, being like, how much like could I be charging for this, that, the other, my edits? And they were telling me, and it was a good chunk of change. And obviously when you work through an agency, it's nothing on TVG, but like the agency has to take their chunk. So that's why I still work with them. And whenever I took the chance, I kept them as a client. So I knew I'd still be making about $1,000 from them a month, which was just about enough to pay rent. So then I'm like, if I can just get one more client on top of that, I'm paying rent. Anything from that, I can just build on. And somehow within the first, month, I ran through a handful of clients. A couple people dropped off, a couple people jumped on, and that happened same thing month 2. So month 1, I was at like 4K, and then I'm like sitting there. My goal by the end of the year was to hit 5K consistently, which was after 9 months, I wanted to hit 5K consistently
per month, and not follow. Just to clarify, per month, not followers or anything.
Oh yes, sorry, money.
You're fine.
I love talking money because nobody else talks money, and I'm like, I think it's important. I wish somebody would have. But then, month 1 was at like 4 or 5K. I think month 2 was like 7. Month 3 was like it was $10,123.41. And I'm like, so within 3 months, I doubled my end of year goal. So now I'm like, I'm bumping those goals. I'm like, I want to be by the end of the year, I want to have 10K consistent months. And then for followers, to go back to your question, actually.
No, I like this comparison too.
So followers, I had goals for myself. So like I wanted to hit 10K on Instagram by the end of the year. I think I had like 2,000 whenever I started my own video editing agency, or not agency, but business, which is just myself still. But I had about 2,000 followers on Instagram, like 500 on YouTube, and I think like 500 on TikTok. And right whenever I started my own thing, I don't know if it was God, if it was whoever, one of my videos blew up. And then now I've been slowly growing over the past 3 months. I'm up to like 77K on Instagram, like 20 some K on TikTok, which I hope TikTok gets banned. I'm tired of TikTok. I'm back down into TikTok jail where I'm getting like 800 views again. So I'm done with that. But then on YouTube, I'm pumping YouTube. That's up to like 2,100, I think, on YouTube, which now that's the only goal I haven't hit then by the end of the year is to hit 10K subs on YouTube, which is it's a lofty goal for YouTube, but yeah, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, and just to interject on this and like speak to y'all watching this, like I'm really, really glad that you pointed it out too, because there is a thing, and not to call, this is not directed at you, but like so many people will see somebody with like 2 million followers. And the fact of the matter is that guy with 2 million followers could literally be making like 50 a year, like $50,000 a year. Followers do not equate to compensation, right? We just talked about this yesterday where I know a guy who had 5,000 followers on YouTube and was doing $500,000 a month, right? And so that is a misconception. So both are important and are extremely helpful, but it's not, everything isn't always as it appears, and you'll figure that out yourself if you do this. But thank you for sharing that too.
And also, just to throw in the quote that everybody says, YouTube is king. As all these social media platforms have came and gone, YouTube is king. Yeah. And that's why I'm pushing YouTube. I think that's why you're kind of starting to do it as well.
Yeah, I'm agreed there. I'm
100%.
Agreed there. And then actually too, to touch on that minor detail, how long were you posting before you had that one video go?
Oh, okay. So I like to always point out my first video that I have documented. If I remember, I'll send you this one too. It was in 2011. Whenever the iPods first came out, we're about the same age. Whenever iPods first came out and they have the camera on the back, I would get my buddy to come over to hang out so I could use his iPod to film videos with us. Shout out Trent. We're still boys today, so I wasn't just using him for his iPod, but we literally have a video of us in our basement doing like a military thing with airsoft guns and using like the speaker in the corner as the gunshots. And that was literally, so that'd be what, 13 years ago? But then I just started posting my first video on Instagram was in 2017 after my family vacation, which that also, I go back and watch, I had some clean transitions in that. But then when I really started posting was whenever I got down here to Texas. I would go on random streaks where I'd be posting, once a day for 30 days. And then that kind of proved the concept, like you always say, where I'm I could be posting a lot more. Yeah. And then, but I was doing that for months, from January to May, basically. I'm posting pretty damn consistently. It was probably even longer than that. And I'm getting nothing. And then it was whenever I started this business in May, I started messing around with color grade stuff, and it wasn't even the first color grade one I made. It was probably the 5th or 6th one, and it just, bang. I found this viral thing, and I use this same how to film cinematic. I just posted one on Thursday, and it's up to like 400K. Like I found like that cheat code where I kept going with it, but it took a lot of posting, and that's, sorry, I keep not letting you talk, but it's literally the thing. Sammy, she's sitting behind the camera. I always told her when you were like, I don't know exactly the route I want to go with my content, I was like, that's what I did. And then I just posted a bunch of random shit. Like I started with working out of the office things, then I went to day in the lives, and then I went to lifestyle stuff, and then I went to gym cinematic stuff, and that's what hit. So it was like, it took me 4 tries, posting 30 days at a time with them to finally find like what hit for me.
Yeah. Fire. And obviously, like you said, like you find it and then bang, you roll.
Run with it, milk it out.
And then to go back a little bit more onto you and like specifics here, what would you say is different or unique about yourself that has allowed you to succeed and find yourself on this path?
That's such a good question. Such a good question. I feel like the best way to put it without sounding cocky is like whenever I was telling like my dad, my grandpa, who are like, they're number ones for me. And whenever I was telling them that I was going to move away to try this or, you know, the different video stuff, they literally would always tell me, they're like, we have no doubt that you're going to figure it out. Like, that's just your personality. And even like, I just thought of this back in like high school, I got like voted by my classmates being like the most likely to make $1 million and stuff. Like there was always something about me that like was slightly different than other people. Do you kind of know what I'm saying? Like it's almost a weirdness. Like, I mean, it's probably coming through now, but it's like most people are more normal than I think like a lot of us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a common trait is like, I mean, like you talked about the nerd thing, I really resonate with that, where it's like, but we're proud to be unique in that way, right? Like you said, you love it. I love the nerd. I
call myself a nerd all the time.
Yeah,
I love nerd
and
now.
like it's embracing more of you. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
That's it. And I think it's almost hard to explain that too, where I know like you guys understand it because we're all in the same boat. But there's people that also would hate what we're doing. Like I use my brother, for example, because he's a great dude. It's not a bash on him, but he went the normal, he got an engineering job. He just married his girlfriend. They bought a house in our hometown and they're living the normal life and they're happy as can be doing it. Right. But for me, since I'm wired weirdly, if I was there, I would be depressed as all get out. So that's like, I knew I needed to do this, like to travel even, just to be happy. But then when I was traveling with construction, I'm like, shit, there's still something there I'm not happy. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's chase something that we're passionate about. And now, no complaints.
Yeah, we're here on a farm riding four-wheelers and shooting stuff.
That's all I'm saying. On your average, what is today, even Wednesday?
I don't know.
I don't even have to keep track of the days.
Matter. But actually, let's talk about on that point and just kind of zoom in there as well. What would you say either to that younger version of yourself or just that person who's, you know, different, who has that different wiring and everything?
So this is kind of answering your question, kind of off with it, because I was just talking to my grandpa for like 2 hours last night. Sorry for keeping you up past your bedtime, Grandpa. That was my fault. But we were talking about like if I regretted anything I did. And I always said, I was explaining to him because he'd never heard of the butterfly effect. And I was like, is that even what it's called?
Yeah.
That's what I was explaining. I wouldn't go back and not go to Toledo to become a construction engineer because that gave me the financial security to buy a car, to do this and whatever. So I'm like, I would never change anything. But if I knew I would still get to where I am today, I wish I would have had the balls to do it in high school. It's almost like, isn't there like a Zac Efron movie or some shit where he goes back to high school and he does like,
again, I think, right? Yeah.
I never watched it, but I saw like, I know the concept of it, where I wish I could go back to high school and I would just walk around school with my camera and just document everything and just like all the hecticness we get into, whatever, the rowdiness. And I think that would be cool because then I would have had a better base where then I wouldn't have had to go to a school to get my construction engineering degree and do all this, that. But that's only if I knew I would get to where I was. But to answer your question is nobody really cares about you. Like to the fact of, do you want to go film in the gym? Nobody in that gym cares that you're filming. They're too focused on their life. So if you want to go vlog in high school and carry your camera around, do it. I mean, just do whatever you want, honestly. It sounds like a kind of dumb advice, but I think there's a lot of merit to that. Like, I wish I would have just gave less fucks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
That got deep, sorry.
No, that's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want. That's fine.
Oh,
No.
I didn't mean to get that deep. That's my bad. I'm getting uncomfortable.
That's exactly what we want here, man. We want to literally dive into the deep end, so that's awesome. And then when you see, I know literally we just talked about this before we started filming, but when you look to your future, you don't need to paint me a Monet, but like, what are the things you want to be doing? What do you see? What are your goals? Like things you've always wanted to do with video, or where do you want to take yourself?
There's one route that I think would be really cool to do is I say it's like the route that Kyle Nutt went. He now makes these videos where they're just like, you know, a company like I think it was CeraVe reached out to him and he made this cool cinematic piece where he's going out to a location, shooting with even just his girlfriend or whoever it was, and they make a really cool cinematic piece where it's like you feel something. And then for 1 second in there, whenever he was doing his morning routine, there was a shot that was just focused on the CeraVe. And then he tagged CeraVe in the comments, and I bet CeraVe paid him like 10, 12K for that. Like I can about guarantee it. So I'm like, if I could start convincing companies, even like when we were talking earlier about some mic companies that are reaching out to me, I'm trying to convince some companies to be like, trust in me to make, because I mean, I have constant just creative things going in my brain where I just want somebody to give me a budget to come here, and this could be a shoot where we could have sat down and used it to promote mics or whatever. That's kind of the route I want to go. So instead of me having to have 7 to 10 clients to make 10K something, I could have 2 clients and I'm making 20K. So that's kind of the route I currently want to go, but I change my mind about every month. So that's why I know a lot of times people say pick your end goal and go towards it. That for some reason hasn't worked for me, where I'm like, I'm going in a direction, but I'm just kind of going with where it takes me at the moment until I'm like, this is what I want and this is what I know I want. And then I'm going to lock in on it, but I haven't made it there yet. I'm only on month 3 of.
And that's the really cool thing is like, you're like, whoa, I'm here now.
I was a construction engineer about a year ago. You know?
Yeah, and that's how fast it can change too. Like,
which is cool.
It's really incredible. And on that note too, like, I just want to double down on that. Like, you guys heard it here. I have full belief that maybe it's not the CeraVe type video or whatever, but he just said it, like, watch the vision come to life.
Yeah.
Follow, actually, let's drop the IG and drop the YouTube and everything.
Oh, I got to spell it all out. At DT Cordonnier. So it's at DTCORDONNIER.
For both YouTube and Instagram?
I want to say yes. YouTube, you can type in just my full name on YouTube. Hopefully it pops up. TikTok, don't even follow me. I'm going to delete my TikTok. I'm done with it.
Yeah, brother.
I'll be coming out with a vlog on Sunday with this. When do you drop these?
That's good.
Because I'll tag you in mine.
Pretty much as soon as pretty much as soon as it's done. So probably.
So I'll just be right after you.
Yeah, like later this week.
Done.
Early weekend, something like that. But yeah,
done.
Follow Dylan on Instagram, on YouTube. Watch the growth. It's already been expansive. I really, really look forward to the future.
We're trying.
Nice English there. Dylan, let's rock and roll, baby. Great talking.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Woo!